It's your boy, Captain Codes.
What, and your boy Cash here featuring...
Is he the third man? He's the third man!
The wild card.
And this is Talking Like Champions. Welcome back to Talking Like Champions. And sorry, everybody, that we failed to get you an episode last week, but your boy Captain Codes was getting married and on a honeymoon. Thank you. Give it up. You know, it wasn't no Bobby Lashley and Lana wedding, but it was on Rusev Day.
Rusev Day!
Anyways, today we're going to give you a very special edition of Talking Like Champions. We will go ahead and do a review of AEW's Forbidden Door special segment by your boy, Cash.
Yes, that's right, and I am here to give you this segment all about AEW Forbidden Door. So we went off and we had ourselves one hell of a night. AEW Forbidden Door was off the charts, let me tell you what. Some of the matches of the evening, like Bryan Danielson and Shingo Takagi, the Owen Hart Tournament first round, and it was an absolute banger of a match. My match of the night for sure. Bryan Danielson went off. Let's talk about MJF and Hechikaro opening up the match and opening up the night, and they had a good one. But then the Learning Tree, the six-man tag match, of course the Learning Tree couldn't do it. And Hook had to use a little bit of Jericho wisdom to beat Jericho. And let's talk about Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, in which Naito walked out and new World Champion Zack Sabre Jr. took Orange Cassidy straight to wrestling school, and let me tell you, Orange Cassidy found out that he could hang and he could go with Zack Sabre Jr., and it was a great match. And then the timeless one, Mina Shikara and Mariah May, had the kiss that heard round the world. And then Money, Mercedes Moné, and Stephanie McCurry, winner take all AEW TBS Championship, New Japan Women's Strong Women's Championship. And you already know that it was Banks Money. She did it. I'm sorry, wrong show. That was Mercedes Moné, new champ and still. And one hell of a ladder match it was. You saw Gonosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Barry versus Dante Martin versus Leo Rush versus To Be Determined. Really? Well, the winner was Jack Barry, of course, because the Elite has to be draped in gold.
It's time for the main event!
In which we saw Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay, and what is sure to be rated by Meltzer a 6.5-star match. It was fantastic. Swerve Strickland ended up retaining the title and put himself on the map and left a boot print on Ospreay's cheek. And that just about does it for your AEW Forbidden Door review. I am Cash. Carry on, back to our show.
And sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't get our AEW correspondent this week, but we did get to have this segment here with Cash, and that was Giannis has to take a poo-poo!
The Greek Freak! Giannis to take a poo-poo!
He did that in an amazing 1 minute and 45 seconds, folks. Although we did miss a match on that review. We missed a 6-man tag between the Acclaimed versus the Young Bucks and Okada.
He did miss that, and that's okay, but you know who won.
So let's move on to the special edition portion of Talking Like Champions.
And with that being said, you know that this coming Friday, the new episode 4 will be up, and it will be the Money in the Bank preview.
Money.
So with that being said, you know, we just have to circle back, and we just have to take you down memory lane here today for this very special edition of Talking Like Champions. So where, I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited for this one. Let's go ahead and do something that we haven't done on this show yet, and that's we've talked about our favorite superstars. Let's talk about our favorite match, and I'm talking about the ladder match. What is your favorite match? Your favorite ladder match, of all time, Wildcard?
So we're going any variations of the ladder match. I've got two.
Yeah, any variation.
Two in my mind, but one that's going to stick out to me for obvious reasons because of all the great highlights and moments that have stood the test of time. You have to go into the Houston Astrodome, April 1st, 2001 at WrestleMania 17 because we had a TLC match between the Hardys, between the Dudleys, between Edge and Christian for the WWE Tag Team Championships.
WWF. I just gotta fuck with you there. Anyways,
And it was
screw that panda.
And it was a great match, of course. We have that moment embedded into our brains where Edge spears Jeff Hardy off of the 20-foot ladder, DDTing himself, so to speak.
What a spot. Thanks to Rhino, I believe.
And then we also have, I love it because we had Rhino interfere for Edge and Christian.
Yep.
You had Lita interfere for the Hardys, and you had Spike Dudley interfering on behalf of the Dudleys. It was a great
dog.
It was a great match. It's so much fun, even to go back and watch today because it holds up so well. And I just.
First of its kind.
I wouldn't say it's not the first TLC match, but it's definitely the one where they're basically
That match first of its kind.
They basically have admitted to themselves, we have set the bar so high, what else can we do here? And I think they accomplished it that night, those 6 guys. Crazy in that era, between that 2000, 2001 era, like how many times those 3 guys, with also APA and back then Road Dogg.
A lot of good
Billy
tag
Gunn.
teams, and that's what a lot of people like to, talk about the current product. And like we've already talked about on this show previously in episodes 1 and 2, if you haven't checked it out, but the Wildcard's biggest gripe with WWE today is they like to get a tag team together and then do what?
Break them up!
Exactly. And that wasn't the case really, back in the day, but not to get off topic, we will go ahead and give an honorable mention to the very first ladder match with Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. It wasn't the greatest match in the world, but, again, much like RVD, it was one of a kind. Cash, what about you? What was your favorite ladder match of all time? I think I know what you're going to say here, but let me just see.
Of course, I'm biased, but honestly, the match as a whole is great, and we're coming up on SummerSlam season right now, so I'm going to stick with it. You already know. Viva
Del Rasan
Oh, Eddie
versus
Guerrero.
the Man of Mask.
Yep, versus the Man of Mask, Rey Mysterio. SummerSlam 05 for the custody of Dominic. Now,
Dirty Dom.
This is the culmination. Also, fact alert here, this was Rey's last match one-on-one in any form with Eddie before his passing as well. So I know this match holds dear to Rey as well.
His favorite of all time, I'm sure.
I believe so. I'm sure. No, it was the end of a very, 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 very personal rivalry. Obviously, watching them team together, be best friends, and growing love for each other, showing their real love as a family outside of the business on screen, then leading to the Eddie turn, and then going through every match, every bloodbath, every little minuscule of hatred between either man, now culminates in this incredible ladder match to where Rey's son is now involved. You see this little boy who sits in the stands, and all of a sudden he's actually a part of this, match itself, not one of the greatest ladder matches ever, but they had great spots, and it was all about Vicky coming in the end and doing the right thing, knowing that that's Rey's son.
Botch it!
Yeah, of course she does.
Oh, Vicky.
But that's Rey's son, and
Excuse me!
she was not going to keep Eddie from doing any more hatred and terror to that family. All in all, that match was actually really good. I know there was one spot in there where they fell off the ladders really awkwardly. Either man about broke their neck, broke their leg, or something. But that's the love of a ladder match. It's absolutely fucking chaotic.
And I'll go a little off wall with mine, but it was Raw 2002. It was the Dead Man. The American Badass at the time. The Undertaker taking on. It wasn't an up-and-comer because much like the wild card mentioned here with the Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy now getting to show his solo
Getting split
premise
up by the brand split
was it was great for him because ultimately it's what put him to the next level and pushed him to the main event scene, and Undertaker picking him up, showing that respect at the end of the match. That was just something, and I was just like, I always knew who Jeff Hardy was.
That was
but watching that match, I was like, man, Jeff Hardy can't be a single superstar. Like, he needs Matt out there, you know what I'm saying? Watching that match, I was just like, damn, this kid really held his own with arguably the greatest of all time, The Undertaker.
title on the line as well, so big opportunity for Jeff.
For the Undisputed Championship.
At that point.
I love that belt, by the way. That was one of the cleanest championships.
V1.
Probably my favorite design.
V1, baby, Matt Hardy.
V1.
Let's go! but no.
Let's give you a Matt fact here.
Yeah, Mac Fact. Mac Fact is this was a big opportunity for Jeff, especially after the first ever draft in 2002. Matt went to SmackDown and got his Mattitude.
Shannon Moore, the Mohawk.
And Jeff went on to Raw.
Now, obviously, not to cut you off from there, sorry, but I have a kind of a question to shoot at you. Who had it better? Would you rather, at the time, have been Jeff coming new on Raw, like you said, do the brand split, already getting a ladder match, undisputed title shot, or are you going to take the path of Matt and went to SmackDown and became one of the best cruiserweight champions at the time? A title shot, or actually winning, but it being a lower, much lower title?
And in retrospect, I'm going to go Matt Hardy because if you
I agree.
If you remember
I
on
agree
those
as well.
SmackDowns, he was working with the Undertaker. He was working with Brock. He was working with.
He was with the bet. He was in the main event, really, but didn't really get
But
the
was cruiserweight
opportunity.
champion.
Yeah.
You know?
And then also,
And ultimately
I don't
didn't get
know-
that world title in WWE until it was ECW. So
Yep.
Also, those segments where Matt was trying to cut weight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that was
man.
great.
Those were great. Being in the sauna suits,
doing the weigh-in and
doing the weigh-ins, it was absolutely hilarious. Great entertainment by Matt, and to me, it was for Matt to be able to show more of a character base, which he absolutely nailed, and Jeff was able to. As
And
long
even
as
to
he
this day.
able to stay out of his own way, he was able to really flourish there on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
those are all three really good ladder matches. And if you don't remember or you haven't checked them out yet, I would highly recommend going back and finding each and every one of those matches that we mentioned and giving them a peep and letting us know what you think about our choices, and maybe dropping down in the comments below your favorite ladder match of all time. With that being said, the Money in the Bank, what's your favorite Money in the Bank of all time?
I'll go ahead and shoot off because I'm a huge candidate for Money in the Banks. Money in the Bank I think Money in the Bank, because it's not a WrestleMania anymore, to me it becomes another of the big four. Now you have a big five.
And now this is the
pay-per-views, in my
this is the
opinion.
15th Money in the Bank pay-per-view, actually.
Yeah, PLE.
Sorry, yes.
But no, I think you consider it one of the big ones now because it's such a big implication out of the Money in the Bank briefcase and how it's been treated and handled over the years. But I will take it back. I'm not going to go the first. I will go the second. I do think WrestleMania 22, that was the best Money in the Bank ladder match still to this day, in my opinion, because everybody in that match shined. Everybody had a chance to shine. RVD, Finlay, Matt Hardy, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair,
Bobby
oh
Lashley,
my goodness, that bump he takes
Shelton
off the
Benjamin.
ladder. We thought Rick was dead.
Yeah, everyone thought he broke his back, but really it was his ankle when he hit the ground off the superplex by Matt Hardy. His leg got flat planted into the ground so hard that thought he broke his ankle. And he still came back out, went off, woo, and climbed to the top, and then ate a fucking
Rick.
shillelagh to hell from Finlay and put him down. But
Nobody does it like Rick.
I think everybody actually really... I think they treated Money in the Banks better back in the day. Everyone got to showcase
Because it was
themselves
it was
little
at
bit more.
Mania.
Yes, and then when they moved it to its own pay-per-view in the earlier years, I wasn't my favorite at first. I was like,
kinda
that's cool. Two matches, I was like, all right, 2 briefcases. I'm happy about that, but I just, I didn't like it at first.
It's cool because it does give 12. Well, at the time when you did do the
Only
red,
6 apiece.
you did a red and a blue briefcase like we
and
used
then
to
they moved
do.
up to 8 people on each side of one.
Yeah,
point stuff, you
and
know.
that was cool.
It
That
people
gave a lot of
chances.
people to shine.
But I feel like in those earlier years, it didn't. You didn't get everyone a chance to shine. You kind of knew, like when Seth Rollins won, you knew he was going to win at that time. Even everybody was in the match, and you were like, "All right, Seth's already going to win for storylines," and you could pick them all out. Now, in these last few years, they've been doing Money in the Bank. They've been listening to the fans a little more, and I have been going I don't know who's going to win. I actually don't
Like
know.
last year.
Last year. I was just going to say, Priest. I did not have him on my card as winning, and if I did, he was like my third person. So, dating back to where I was, WrestleMania 22, I do think that was the best match just because of all those factors right there. I think everybody got to showcase a little bit. They said Bobby Lashley was Army, not Air Force, as Taz would say, scared to climb the ladder, so he was so reluctant that entire match. And then finally he hit a big power move, the Dominator, and he finally got his big moment, and then, that was it for him, but he showcased himself. Finlay was great, looked like a street brawler, using the shillelagh for everything. All that was great. Shelton Benjamin, your Money in the Bank, forever Money in the Bank MVP to never win it.
Oh.
I'll have a gripe about that till I die.
Should have won a world championship. Should have been a Money in the Bank champion.
Yeah.
I mean,
Matt Hardy, he was really coming into his own, kind of as Chuck said earlier. He was really coming into his own on his singles run through the 06 years, 07 years right there. It was tag titles and U.S. title runs, every MVP coming up after this. So that was kind of the start for him, and he was doing really well. Could have looked like he would have won. RVD, though. I love me some RVD, boys. If you gave me a list of the top 10,
then he was
RVD
the first,
in my personal top
and then he
10.
was the first to customize the briefcase, which was
First
also
one to
cool.
customize the briefcase, made it special, and then obviously brought back ECW. So, I mean, I think if you tie in everything, for me personally, WrestleMania 22, the Money in the Bank ladder match.
I personally,
absolutely fun.
my favorite is Punk winning for the first time, just because seeing Punk on ECW, I was like, man, this guy's kind of cool, straight edge.
Okay,
and-
24 in Orlando.
yes, 24. Punk. It was good to see this guy go to the next level, and I was
Now-
like, they're not going to push this man to the main event. Like watching him in ECW, I wouldn't have thought, because back then there was no dirt sheets to read. There was no internet access like there is today to know, hey, this guy's really sliding in the independents. Like, so I really didn't know a whole lot about old CM Punk back in the day, but I seen him, I was like, hey, this guy's kind of cool when he did the shit with the hands in the middle of the ring, warming up. I was like, this dude's a little badass, and then he won, and then, goes on and becomes one of the best of all time.
Now, you were there, weren't you, Chuck?
I was there.
Mr. Wildcard.
Yes.
So
I
what's
was.
your favorite Money in the Bank of all time? I would
was-
say that because you're there personally,
I
but
was there. I vividly remember that it was starting to drizzle during the middle of that match.
Was it really?
It really was.
I do remember it was kind of gray. I remember they opened the night and everything. Okay.
It definitely did clear up. It was a little drizzly.
which
but,
is unsafe for a ladder match.
it was underneath that big
It
tarp.
was under that
Still.
chart, which is one of the that was the first time we've seen it.
Yeah, for the outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say WrestleMania 21. I know how you said how great the Money in the Bank ladder matches in 2006. I'm very old school. I don't think Money in the Bank should have a PLE. I think especially now that WrestleMania is 2 nights, it's a perfect opportunity to put.
But if you continue to do, not to cut you off, sorry, but if you continue to do something like we did last year with this big tag team ladder match,
Then does it make it okay?
Then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay like that because now you're getting
Fill the void.
so many people. But I agree, there should absolutely 100% be a ladder match on WrestleMania every single year.
Yes.
So especially now that it's 2 nights, you could have a men's one night, women's one night.
Absolutely.
It adds more prestige to it because it's at WrestleMania versus.
Yeah, and winning that, you get a WrestleMania moment, and you win Money in the Bank,
Bank.
and
Yeah,
that's
right,
something that a lot of guys don't ever get the opportunity to do.
You're going to have the most eyeballs on that product on WrestleMania than you would.
And especially building a new star on that night.
That's a great opportunity for them to get that done. And so that first one laid the blueprint because we had no idea what this was going to be. We knew it was going to be a multi-man ladder match, but we didn't know eventually how the whole Money in the Bank situation, how it would pan out. We initially thought it was going to be like, hey, I'm challenging you. I've become the new number one contender. I'm challenging you at the pay-per-view at the time, pay-per-view.
And then Edge cashes
Yeah,
in, and
then
you're
it
like,
became
"Whoa."
an instant.
You literally learned it's a call your shot.
And I remember because, I was a kid, I wasn't fortunate enough to get every pay-per-view, when they were pay-per-views at the time. My parents, $50 was steep for a kid to watch wrestling and, and not working or providing anything. So I actually did miss that pay-per-view, and I remember I used to go on WWE.com the minute that the any show ended, and I would see that John Cena got cashed in on because Vince McMahon said, "Oh wait, there's one more match." I'm like, "What the hell? How did John Cena lose the title?"
And for Edge to do that, to really make it as the ultimate opportunist,
Yeah.
that was really laid right into his platform and laid the foundation for that ultimate opportunist character.
I'll
too.
shoot one more little question here at us here as Mr. Cap has a pee-pee problem. He has to go take a pee real quick. So we'll shoot a little question while he's gone. How about this? Since we're on the Money in the Bank topic, and we are coming up to Money in the Bank here, just a short few days actually. Who is not the best cash in? Who's the best person to win said briefcase? Who do you think it's done the most for? So many guys have won.
That's
Someone on the low side, so like the lower end, the opposite of my answer would be somebody like Kane. Like, he didn't ever need to win that. but it was cool for him and he got one more title.
Yeah, so
But who did it the most where it was like, yes, this is gold, you needed to win this?
I don't know if I'm just biased on this one, but
Sorry, boys, that damn water.
I don't know if I'm biased for this because I was actually there in the building for this cash in, and I feel very lucky to have seen it. Is when Sheamus cashed in
Well,
his Money in the Bank.
what was the question? The greatest cash in?
Who did it do most for?
Who did it do most for? What guy won? Did the most
Oh, I was
for?
gonna say greatest cash in. We already know, and
We
I'm
know
just
that.
biased.
I think everybody can agree with that. But who did it do the most for? The guy who won. Who did it the most for?
Well,
Like
I'd
I
love
said,
to
the
say it was
opposite
for.
answer would have
I
been
would love to
Kane.
say it'd be Dolph Ziggler because of the pop that he received. It was other than Seth the best, but really did it do him anything because
Exactly.
he
There
had the
you go. That's
championship
what
for
I'm
how
asking.
long?
Yeah.
So, and then you could say what Swagger?
Yeah,
he had
same
the
thing.
he had the title.
Shows up on
It was a
SmackDown,
decent
wins,
little
and
run.
It's like holy shit, and then
He held the briefcase at the time.
Yeah.
The shortest amount of time.
You think it's Sheamus? You said on Roman.
Yeah, no, Sheamus, when they had the
Who suited
tournament
into the
because
most
Seth
for.
got injured.
Yep.
So they had the tournament at Survivor Series.
I mean,
And for me, it was because Sheamus was kind of like treading water in the mid card at that point. So
like he could be on the verge of release.
yeah. So for him to
Okay,
win that
yeah.
title and then at the time align himself with that authority figure, I thought it was great and rejuvenized Sheamus's career.
Yeah, because before that was that him and Del Rio and Rusev, or was that after? I can't remember.
yeah, true that. Yeah.
What were they called?
Who's that?
Having a moment. It was Barrett, Rusev,
Oh,
Del Rio. It
Nations or
was Barrett's last
Yeah,
run with the
something
company.
I don't know.
something of Nations. It'll come
And then
back
they
to
all
us in a
got
little
squashed on Mania.
bit. Yeah.
And yeah, that
League of
was
Nations.
League of Nations.
that was the end of them.
Look, so I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan. That was, I believe, someone will have to quote me later. It's either the first or second year that the Money in the Bank was on its own. Joe Bryan won the SmackDown briefcase. I think that sparked it for him there. I think they believed in him after that because he won the Money in the Bank. He was able to cash in and win the World
Yeah, because remember
title.
he was fired. Or
Yeah,
he
he wasn't
quit.
really nothing. And then he got brought
Came
back,
back.
for the Nexus match and everything. But then he went on a solo run, like you said. So I think him winning that briefcase sparked the main event push, or sparked that he could do it.
And you could argue that same thing for CM Punk, who it boasted into the main event as well, because, well, really, RIP to Ben Wall, but that's really what CM Punk got pushed into the main event, because remember, he stepped up and he fought John Morrison
Yeah.
on the pay-per-view for the main event. So you could say it did the most for Punk. You could argue, like you said, that as well. And I could also make an argument that it did the most for Seth, because it
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I feel like
it elevated him to the
Same
next level.
Yeah.
Doing that cash, then he becomes the first
That's what I
time
said
ever
before you
winning the
came out. I
championship.
went with
Like,
the opposite. I said somebody like Kane. He won it. And yeah, he did win the
He
world
cashed
title,
in
but
that
then
night on
was-
Rey
That was
Mysterio.
it. Did he need it? Like, no, but he did do it. It was cool. It did
He
give
didn't
him and his
need
brother
it,
one more story.
but he deserved it for his work ethic over the
Yep.
years, which brings us to a good point about when our buddy that we wrestle with, our current HW World Champion, the Landlord, when he was talking about Kane, arguably top 10.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Kane's top 10, but, I definitely say he's top 25. That may be for our next special edition
Yeah, something to talk about.
of Talking Like Champions. Maybe we can talk about our top 10, maybe our top
Yeah.
25. Maybe we can make a collective top 25 between the three of us, and we'll put it in our pecking order, and we'll be able to, break it down for you guys on a future episode. But as far as today, I think we covered everything that we needed to cover. We talked about our favorite ladder matches. We talked about our favorite moments at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And next on Friday, we'll have another episode. Episode 4, we'll have the Money in the Bank review. We'll talk about who's all in the Money in the Bank ladder match and who we think is going to win and walk away. And again, from the competitors that are in it, there's quite a few people that this briefcase could do a lot of good for. So
And look. There's some people in that we already know were confirmed for this ladder match. Based on who's in it, from the three of us, I think there's one word that we can all say of who we think the winner of this match is going to be. I mean, come on now. It's got to be
One, 2, 3. Yeet!
I mean, honestly. Now, there's still a couple spots to be filled, but I I think it's main event Jey Uso, and it's his time. Nonetheless, this match is going to absolutely slap. You know, hey, screw it. Let's throw a little bit of breaking news before we end the show out here. Old Wildcard pulls out his phone. Here's our social media segment of the night. Wildcard pulls out his phone. Quick rumor for you, and now confirmed that Julius and Brutus Creed have been announced for
Bloodsport.
Josh Barnett's Bloodsport on July 28th in Brooklyn. That is amazing. I love the Triple H regime. I love that these boys get to branch out a little bit and do this. And, I'm sure there's something in these clauses
And
like, hey, you can't get hurt. You better be careful. But at the same time, it's like, this is good for... This is best.
And not only that, what was it? No Quarter Catch Crew was just over there, the TNA tapings.
Yeah.
So they should be popping up
very soon.
probably this Thursday night or the following Thursday. They should be popping up on TNA, and that's just good for the
Yeah,
business.
for our viewers, guys, please pay attention to TNA. They're cooking.
And we have nothing against AEW. Sorry, we kind of did a short AEW breakdown. We do love AEW, and I want to say this, that I absolutely enjoyed the main event match between Will Ospreay and Swerve. Swerve hitting the hidden blade to the front of Ospreay. I thought he killed him.
Oh, yeah.
Then he left the imprint on his face from the house
Did
call.
you see that?
My goodness.
You see
he
the
had the
sheet?
Nike print on his chin.
Dude, it was gross. Right as cheek.
That match was good, and then, like
we're
I said,
waiting for our AEW correspondent to do a real AEW segment for you guys, so that's why we threw one in today on you quick. But I hope you guys enjoyed it.
and when he gets here, you'll know, because everybody gets checked.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this special edition of Talking Like Champions. We hope to see you next week, we hope to see you Friday for episode 4. Please like, follow, subscribe on all social platforms. We love you. Goodbye.
See ya.
You did.